And welcome, folks, to another edition of the Michigan Football Breakdown, focused on the offense with that guy who likes to consider himself a gorgeous human being. We call him Al Borges, former Michigan offensive coordinator, but he's had so many offensive coordinator stops. Kind of long in the tooth, pretty experienced, knows what he's talking about. All that experience is put to good use on these football breakdowns, right? He's coached a running quarterback or two. And that's why that experience, when talking about Alex Orji, is going to be really, I think it's really going to be effective today in coloring the conversation. It's going to be really, I think it's going to be really enlightening with a lot of the questions that you guys are going to have for Coach Borges today. So if you have those questions, you can start getting them lined up as we get to the Q&A session a little bit later on. Gorgeous Borges, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Absolutely. I do so much better after the team wins than when they lose. So, I'm good.
Yeah, so folks, whoa, what is going on? It's like I got the voice of God going on here. It's with the echo. I'm echoing from your mic. Hold on, let's. What about now? There
How
we go.
about that?
Yeah, that was coming through yours, Al.
What?
I got it handled. I got it handled though. It was the voice of God coming through Al Borges's coming through Al Borges's mind. I actually kind of like that. I kind of like having that godly tone. That felt kind of good there
That
for a minute.
distinction goes to when late James Jones. I can't live up.
Okay, Al is still echoing. They said you're still echoing. That's probably coming through mine. So let me go ahead and fix that. They said it's echoing crazy, but I know how to fix it. I know how to fix it. What about now, people? Did that? Okay, give
How
them.
about that? I think we got it licked.
I
Yeah,
think we got it licked now. That's
I
taking
think so.
there you go. All right.
Yeah.
We are all set. No more echoes. And they said I am really low. So let's go ahead and boost the volume. And we should be really good to go now as we all good now. We're getting a thumbs up. We appreciate you folks for the sound check. Check 1 2, check 1 2.
Check
All right.
1 2. Check 1 2. How's that, Sam?
All right, we are all good. Now, folks, this is going to be an interesting show because we are gonna dig back into the annals of Al Borges's coordinator history. Because you go back to Al Borges's coordinator history, there was a time where you stepped into a running quarterback, and after a career of coaching quarterbacks who could run, but not necessarily a running quarterback, right?
Yeah, some could. Yeah, some weren't that good, but yeah.
Yeah. So that I think is, I think there's a parallel here that I think pretty informative as far as this conversation is concerned. Want to direct you to the film study this week because I think as we talk about Alex Orji's usage, the film study is going to be especially enlightening. So if you have not downloaded the Autograph app, you want to download the Autograph app so you can watch the film study. I want to emphasize this.
Yeah, we honed in on that more than probably anything else we did.
Yeah, that it because look, we've been hammering since the first week. Want to be clear that at least for me, I think that leaning into the run game is I think their best way, their best chance for success offensively. And I think Alex gives them the best chance to lean into their run game. And so how they do that, and Al, I kind of lean on you for that part of the conversation. How they do that is going to be really important. And so Al, I think, did a really, really good job of highlighting some of those keys. So again, if you have not yet downloaded the Autograph app so you can see the film studies in their entirety, Al did a great job this week of really breaking that down. I'm going to put the QR code on the screen right now, so you can grab it whether you have Android or iOS. You can get it on your Android phone, your iPhone, your iPad. It is available to you for free. It is a free app. It gives you access to not only the film studies, because the film studies are exclusively on the Tom Brady's autograph app, mind you. You also get, your favorite blogs, your favorite podcasts. They all come through the Michigan Insider, the Big 1050, all our podcasts go through over there. All our free content from the MichiganInsider.com goes through over there. Our VIP content, you still got to go to the MichiganInsider.com for that, but free stuff goes over there. And then the great thing about the Autograph app is when you read content or watch the film studies and all that over on the Autograph app, you get points, and then you can redeem those points for rewards. Mm-hmm. Those who don't like QR codes, link.ag.fan/Sam Webb. Again, link.ag.fan/Sam Webb is another way to download the app, because some of you don't like QR codes. I guess people can spoof QR codes. You learn something new every day, Al. I didn't know people spoofed QR codes, but I guess you can do that. And so that's another way for those of you who don't want to do that, who don't want to do the QR code thing. That's another way to get it. Link.ag.fan/Sam Webb is another way to get it. So get the Autograph app, download the app, and watch the film studies. But Al, let's go ahead before you start talking about how they'll use Alex Orji, and give me your broad stroke observations from the game against Arkansas State. Because I think the big takeaway first, the run game, even though it was Arkansas State, got back on track.
Yeah, everybody, I think, felt better about that. And regardless of the opponent, I think the offensive line played better. Now, I think they still have a ways to go. I don't think they've arrived by any means, but this was a good start to the rest of the season, in that they had not rushed the ball like they wanted to in the first couple games. So I think they played better. What they did, Sam, they kind of pounded their mother plays. You know what I mean? They said, we're going to take this and we're going to run the duo play 14 times. Okay. And that's what they did. They ran the 14 duo plays, and actually 17 times, because they ran 3 counter duos, which really is the same blocking scheme. It's just counter action. They went back to the split zone, which we haven't seen as much in the last year, but we saw a couple of years ago. They ran 7 of those. They ran 5 power plays. They ran a couple OTs. But what they did, I think, is just kind of streamline the run game, keep running those plays, and even if they didn't kill it the first time they ran it, come back to it, and it paid off. Another thing, too, is our running backs in the open field, when they had a chance to get the play started, did a great job of beating that extra defender, which has not happened as much in the first couple games. And that created some explosive plays, particularly with Khalil Mullins. So they limited themselves to 10 drop back passes. Now, that's a far cry from 34 the week before. Now, that doesn't put the offensive line in a bad situation, but the game, again, was in balance. The game a week ago was not. So it forced them to throw more balls and expose maybe some weaknesses. Yeah. Orji was efficient. Orji came in the game late, and we'll talk more about that, but was very efficient in his play. And if he'd hit that last deep ball, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and then we talk about in the film study, he would have left the stadium, said, God, dog, I had a good day. But I really thought that, like I said, the running backs were a factor. The ball got rushed better. Davis Warren, to his credit, was very accurate. Now, I mean, he hit, I believe, 11 out of 14 passes. The thing about it is he threw 3 picks, which, that got him out of the game. So it doesn't matter how accurate you are. If you give the ball to the other team, the coach is going to pull you. But he did make some very, very good throws that was encouraging. And he'll, he may not start this week, but I'm guessing he'll be back in a fold in some way in the future. So all told, it was a get-well game, Sam. They're playing a lesser opponent. Now, with no disrespect to Arkansas State, they played very hard. But it was a game where they could get well, again, go back to the womb, do the things that they've done in the past successfully, and start feeling better about yourself going into this Big Ten schedule.
Yeah, I certainly feel better about myself. Devin was telling me Alex Orji he's never going to start this game, Sam. He's never going to start this game. What are you saying? Sam, you're going to feel real bad. Now, I was not, to be clear, I was not sandbagging Devin. I had not been told that Alex was definitely going to start. If I had, to be clear, if I had spoken to Sharon between the end of the game and Monday morning quarterback, I would have said so. I had not. I had conversations that led me to believe that it was likely, which I intimated that I'm hearing some things that lead me to believe that it's likely. But I had not been told by the big man himself that it was definitely going to be, because I wouldn't have done Devin like that. So you guys got to know that. That's my man. I would not have done DG like that. So I was like, hey, I haven't been told, so I don't know. Because it could have been just like camp, where 2 weeks through camp, it was like everyone was saying, man, it's over. It's like, man, it's gonna be Alex. Looking like Alex. I mean, Al, they were like, this is Alex's show. It's looking like it looked like AO is good to go.
Yeah, based on that report, I would have guessed that he at least had played more to this point.
Right.
Now he's got a great opportunity. In the post game, I listened when I was driving home from the game. I listened to Strom, and he kind of, he didn't say he was going to start Orji, but he kind of was leading in that direction a little bit, that we couldn't have turnovers, and so many words that we could have scored more points. So I would have guessed it, but I would not have guessed it unequivocally. I was not absolutely certain.
So. Yeah. I had heard that, that things were kind of leaning that way, but Devin was hard in the paint. There's just no way. There's no way they're going to give Alex a shot. And, his point, and this is one of the things that I kind of want to lean into with you from a conversation standpoint, Al. Because I think it's pertinent in coloring the rest of the conversation. Devin was very much of the mind that he's like, the way things have played out, they don't want Alex to be successful. And I was like, so I pushed back on that. And I said, well, no, that's not it. Now, if you believe they don't know how to make him be successful, okay, then make that point. Make that point, DG. You can make that argument, okay? Because there might be some substance to that argument, and saying they need to, there might be a learning curve to knowing how to make him be successful. And then you can also argue, and I think there's some substance to, hey man, over the first 3 games, there was a missed opportunity to get him some more throws in. Because you heard me say for 3 weeks, hey, to the point where people were in these chats like, hey man, shut up about Alex getting some throws in. Shut up about Alex getting some series. I know people in this chat probably got tired of me saying, I think they need to be getting Alex some more snaps. Not one snap at a time, not one snap here or there. They need to give him some series. Not saying split half and half, but at least give him some series in case Davis isn't the guy for this very scenario. That was my point. Okay. That didn't happen. Here we are now, Al, and we are to a point where it's kind of similar, not totally the same, but kind of similar to a scenario where you step in with Denard and you inherit a running quarterback, which is different from your experience in the past where you've had quarterbacks who could run, which is different altogether. And your usage plan where you got all the plays in the playbook, but how often do you run him? Now you also want to incorporate your running backs in this equation. How do you keep them fresh and get them in a rhythm? You got to keep all these things in mind as you're sequencing plays, right? So talk me through how you learned all of that on the fly, coming from San Diego State, Auburn, UCLA, all those stops before that, and then stepping into that here at Michigan with Denard.
Yeah, well, I had quarterbacks who could run. Let's just say that, okay? And I had quarterbacks that didn't run much, okay? So how we designed the plan was always based on whether we thought he could run, but we never emphasized any place I'd ever coached the quarterback as a runner. He was more an occasional run and a lot of improv, if that was what he was capable. Cade McDowell, I had at UCLA, was a very good improv quarterback, could have been a spread offense quarterback. I used to call him kind of a mini Tebow because he threw the ball like him and he just wasn't as big. But as I got through my career, I was more of a pro style coach. I was weaned in pro style offense. I went to the school of Bill Walsh, and that's how we were gonna play. And when I went to San Diego State, we had, particularly my second year, had a lot of success offensively running that style. We were very balanced. We still were more run than pass, but our quarterback, we didn't have a run in the offense for our quarterback. Our quarterback was not a runner, not even close. He didn't like to scramble. So when I came to Michigan, you had to completely shift gears. And sometimes as coordinators, you can be victims of your success because you just left a job. You got the Michigan job because everybody's fired up about what you did offensively. And you just want to say, oh, well, let's just carry it over to Michigan. Well, that Denard was not Ryan Lindley. He just wasn't that kind of quarterback. So when we came, we knew the offense was going to be different. There was no getting around that. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to make it, because he had gotten beat up in so many games a year before. He had to come out of like 9 out of 12 games. He had to come out of it. So I said, let's take a few runs off and get the tailback more involved. And then not only can we explore Denard's ability, but we can also get the tailback more involved and start building to the offense we're going to run down the line. That was kind of our thinking. Well, as it went, that just wasn't it was kind of the answer, but it wasn't the total answer. But when it was all said and done, Sam, Denard ended up running the ball about as much as he'd run under Rodriguez's regime, okay? But what we did, and it's the proudest thing in my career, the thing I'm the most proud of that we did, when I was at San Diego State, we had a 1,000-yard rusher with Ronnie Hillman and 2,000-yard wide receivers with Vince Brown and DeMarco Sampson. I thought I'd never done that before. I thought that was pretty cool. But we shifted gears and changed our thinking, and it didn't happen overnight, Sam. It took some play calling, some understanding to where we not only had a 1,000-yard running quarterback, Fitz Tucson was a 1,000-yard rusher. So we proved as an offensive staff that we could make that adjustment. But just understand your play calling and your game plan design is completely different. It's completely different. And when you get in a game, you got to think he's running first, and then everything comes after that, right? Where before we were tailback oriented, we're going to run first, play action pass, blah, 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 blah. This was totally a shift in thinking. So it takes you a couple games to really get in a comfort zone with that. But eventually we did, and it worked out, to an 11-win season, which was great.
Yeah, but you said it took you a couple games to adjust.
It longer than I wish it would have. But fortunately, we didn't take hits in those games. We didn't win, but it does. I mean, you've been calling plays a certain way your whole life. And like I say, if you're successful doing it that way, instantly you go right back to previously successful behavior. And sometimes that's not the answer. Sometimes the answer is, again, think more about the Jimmies and Joes than you do the X's and O's. And I think that was a lesson for all of us.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see the fortunate thing for them, which is different and an advantage here, is okay. They're not totally new to Alex, right? They have been coaching him. These plays are in the playbook. The frequency of usage, so they aren't heavy RPO. They don't run the plays that they're gonna run with him. They don't run a lot of bluff zone. They've run them, but not a whole lot.
But right? They have the scheme.
But they have a scheme.
Yeah,
they have a scheme.
Makes the transition easy, right?
So the transition is going to be easy, but all these things are going to move to the top of the play sheet now, Al Borges. So, just kind of adapting to that is going to be a thing. And then this is the other thing. Um, and this had to be a bit of a process, I imagine, with you, Al. You're going to have to, as a play caller, um, get comfortable with, hey man, you're gonna have to. He's gonna have some missed throws. He's gonna have some missed throws, especially since you didn't give him any throws to kind of get warmed up, get acclimated to. He didn't get any reps throwing the football down the field. Maybe who knows how good he's gonna be.
It's the trade-off, Sam. It's the trade-off. You play a running quarterback. He does some things great running, does some lesser things passing. So it's the trade-off when you make that move.
Yeah. So let's stipulate for the record, like we already know, he's not as accurate a passer as, at least statistically, that much was established in camp. He's not as accurate a passer as Davis. Let's stipulate that right there. But I think we can also stipulate that he's probably not as accurate a passer as he's gonna be, because he didn't get a chance to throw downfield passes in games. So you're gonna have to live probably for a time with some errant throws as a play caller. Fair to say?
Yes, and that can be frustrating, particularly if the guy you were playing for before was hitting a lot of those throws. So that can be frustrating for the play caller when you call a play, the guy's open, you set it up, you miss it. Oh God! But you got to think of what else he brings to the table to compensate for that.
Right. So, we need to talk about back to the game, because there are plenty of questions about Alex and about the offense and the matchup with SC, because here's glass half full. Schematically, this defense that they're going to face is from the family of defense that they see every day, right? This is from the Ravens family of defense. So it's not going to be the same, but it's from the family. So that gives you something to go on if you're Michigan's offense. But Al, you talked about going back to basics in some respects. They duoed, as you mentioned, them to death. What I really liked was how these tailbacks, even though it was Arkansas State, they ran tough in this game, Al.
They did.
Both Khalil and Donovan, especially Khalil, they ran through contact. I don't know that I saw one run in this game where they went down on first contact.
No, and when they did go down, they always fell forward. I mean, it was really a great job of getting your backs started. Number one, you got to get the back started. Can't get him in the backfield. He's got to be able to get his shoulders turned to the defense. And when they did, more often than not, it was a winner. I mean, the safeties were getting beat, the linebackers were getting beat, occasionally a corner. But it was, I think, just like I said, a return to what they're so familiar with. The duo plays, pounding those duo plays, 14 duo plays, 2 or 3 counter duos, which were big plays, 2 explosive of the 3, pounding that power play, getting those linemen coming off, feeling good about themselves, and only throwing, 10 dropbacks, 3 nakeds, 6 play action passes, and a couple RPOs. They even added a couple RPOs and some run control with some bubbles in there too, which again may tie well into the transition to Orji. But it was it looked more like the old Michigan to me,
Yeah. Had to love that. They busted out an RPO. How long we've been talking about RPOs? Now they busted out RPO in this game.
Yeah, they did. They busted out a couple, matter of fact. Yeah. And they were successful. They were good. And like I say, when Orji plays, I think you're much more likely to get loaded boxes all the time. So RPOs can be another way to exploit those safeties in the box, taking advantage, triggering every time you show run action and then making it hard getting plays started. So RPOs are a nice little tool to have in your box.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about that. And then, of course, the interceptions, Al. This is what ultimately sparked the change. Here's the irony. The irony is Davis had a really accurate day outside of the interceptions. But you can't
Can't ignore the interceptions. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, you get.
You
Here's
can't
the thing, Sam. Here's the thing. Couple of deals on that. Okay. Number one, all three interceptions were thrown when
first down.
first down. Okay, so again, you got to evaluate that as a quarterback. Say you can't be throwing interception on first down. You got two, maybe even three more downs to get the first down based on how close you are on fourth and whatever, right? So to force the ball in or throw it up there and hope is really kind of absurd because there's too many other chances. And they've proven they can recover from a simple incomplete pass, right? They can do that. Okay. Number two, you lose that possession and it affects your point total. Not to mention it puts your defense in a bad situation. So and you're going to see if you watch the film study, so many times you could just take it and throw it away and pick up your weapons, move on, and go to the next play. Okay, and I think that's what happens. You know, when you're feeling the heat, you want to score more points, you want to do this, you feel like you got to complete every pass. You don't, particularly if it's first down. So I think that's the takeaway from Davis's perspective, and it's something that Alex too can learn from watching.
Yeah, it was you know, tough circumstance. He didn't have a pass hit the ground.
No,
But three of
that's
them,
the good news and the bad news, right? Yeah.
the other team caught. And, initially during the game, I knew the first one was on him. There was a lot of chatter about Donovan going the wrong way on the first one. I couldn't see that he went the wrong way. I initially thought Davis turned the wrong way on the first one. Donovan eventually said after game, no, I went the wrong way. That wound up being inconsequential.
It really, at the end of the day, it did because he can't block two guys. They brought a corner blitz with the will backer, and he can only get one of them, so there was going to be pressure regardless of which way.
Yeah. The corner was not Donovan's man on the play, and that pressure was going to get the corner pressure was going to get there. Donovan wound up going for the will first, which was the guy he was going to have to get, and then coming off the will, which was his responsibility, to try to get the corner, which wasn't his responsibility, which tells you that play was doomed.
Yeah, from the get. Yeah, and let me talk about that a second too. It was an ill-timed call. Okay, believe me, I know I've had some ill-timed calls. Okay, it was a power pass against a corner blitz with a will fire, and that's just not a very good pass protection against that. So, okay, coach, then what's the answer? Do you wave the white flag? Well, no, you don't really have to wave the white flag if you can see it coming, and you're giving the quarterback the latitude to change the play. You can get into a better protection or a better run, because it is first down, right? Mm-hmm. And get out of that bad scenario. If you don't see it coming, then as a quarterback, you got to cut your losses. You got to throw that ball away to only the good guy, where only the good guy can get, or just throw it where nobody can get it, but there's a good guy close enough to where they won't call a penalty. So there's an answer to it if you see it, and there's an answer to it if you don't see it and have to react to it.
Yeah. So that one was one where you got to throw it away. The second one, his arm was hit. I know there was some debate amongst fans. Well, even how was it hit that badly? Look, his arm was hit. So we give him a mulligan on that one. But the last one was the one that got him pulled. And I think the coaches were probably like, this is the worst one.
Yeah.
Because Al, I think, and I'm trying to get in your head as a coach, and get in the heads of Sharon and of Kirk Campbell, because you got two interceptions before that. So two interceptions have happened. This is a play where it's first down again. You got max protect. You got a clear pocket. So you got the protection is good. And this play is clearly covered. And he throws it up. And
and that's probably of the three the most egregious. But again, first down, right? They called play pass max, which they had 7 guys in there protecting, and the back checking his way out. They ran I couldn't tell what the split ends route was because he fell down, and that was a big factor in the interception is he got knocked down, and then the Z coming over the top bumped the safety. He was open for a fraction, and I think that's kind of what Davis probably saw. But then the corner caught up as soon as he bumped into the safety, so he was covered. The corner who fell down, whose receiver fell down, freed up and just backed up, kind of ascended, and Davis threw it anyway and ended up just playing catch with the corner. So it's another one where, it's just not there. It's not there. Even the check down was covered. Okay, so just take it, throw it over the check down's head, go to 2nd and 10, be done with it. But of the three, that probably was the worst one because he was protected and could see the throw.
Mm-hmm. Kellen Sandifer said, can you put the PayPal link in the chat? So that's right. I didn't mention this. So Al Borges and Vance Vett, for that matter, they are, so we do the film studies for the Michigan games every week. When the 2 Michigan bye weeks hit, they aren't taking it off. We aren't taking it off. We aren't taking the bye weeks off. We're doing the Buckeye breakdowns.
Buckeye breakdown.
The Buckeye breakdowns in the bye week.
Evil Empire.
Taking a page out of the what's the old dude's name? Connor Stallion's book.
No, Sam, I don't want to.
That's right. Taking a page. Yeah. Connor, not just Connor doesn't have nothing on Al Borges. Guys, Al is scouting better than Connor. He's getting the notes deeper than Connor. Boy. Woo! Al, I got some secrets on the Buckeyes, boy. Putting together a hell of a film study on the Buckeyes. But listen, I mean, it's hard work being gorgeous like this.
It's hard work. You got to work hard to look as good as I do.
Can't do it for free, so you need help funding the Buckeye breakdown. Like the Michigan breakdowns, this Tom Brady came in and said, okay, I could fund the Michigan film studies, but the Buckeye breakdowns, fellas, you're on your own. So we need the Michigan fans to help fund the Buckeye breakdown. So we got the PayPal fundraiser going on for that. We do have that going on. So this is the link for the Buckeye breakdown. I'm going to put that in the chat right now for the Buckeye breakdown fundraiser. And so whether it's $1 or $5 or whatever you can spare to help Borges stay gorgeous as he is doing the film study for the Buckeye breakdown. And in the bye week, we're going to do, I think it's the first 5 Ohio State games for the first Buckeye breakdown. And then I think it's games 6 through 9, 6, 7, 8, and 9 for the second Buckeye breakdown. So I'm putting the link in the chat right now. All right. So if you can help out, there it is in the chat. All right, folks. If you have questions for Al, as we are about to get to the grades, if you have questions for Al, start lining them up in the chat right now, and we will get to them in the Q&A. And while they're doing that, Al, let's go ahead and get to your grades for the game, starting, of course, with the quarterback.
Yeah, I only had him at -5, which at the end of the day, that's a pretty good grade for a quarterback in 60-something odd plays, 65 plays, 64 plays. The last one was a victory offense, but that's not a bad grade. The problem is when I graded, I double minused interceptions. And in his, I had 2 of the 3 I would have double minused. So it's probably a little worse than that. But his grade was a solid C+ to B-, and he was accurate. He did some really good things. It's just it was tainted by the turnovers. Okay, the running backs I thought were really good, and including Donovan didn't have the big runs, but Donovan ran hard inside, did some good stuff. I thought both of them were at A-. Did not have protection issues. Was a good day for them. A good day for them. Offensive line, again, a B- to C+ right in there. I think still some technique issues, but they got play started. They got play started because they kept running the same plays and getting better and better at that. Tight ends, a guy I liked. I think I had him with 4 minuses, but Klein, who had to fill some for Colston, I thought had a pretty good game. He was pretty solid. He blocked some of the perimeter. He blocked some in line. He did some nice things, and he shows that he is indeed a receiving threat. So I think the tight ends were a B in this game. Wide receivers, from a receiving perspective, I think we're pretty good. I think they could have blocked better. So I would give them nothing better than a B minus to C plus right in there. I don't think that they. I think they need to get in, particularly if they're going to throw those bubbles, and those line routes, and those type of things. Your receivers got to block. If you're going to use any RPOs, your receivers have got to block. So I think that's an area that could have been better. Although I think from a standpoint of catching the ball, running the routes, they weren't too bad. So did I miss anybody? I think I got them all.
I think you hit them all out, Borges. One to kind of start things off, because a lot of folks have been pointing to a couple of positions on the offensive line. I've been talking about right tackle and center. So let's just hit them out the gate. What did you think of Evan Link's?
Evan Link, because there's only 10 drop back passes. Okay, that plays to any tackle, not just Evan, but any tackle's strengths, because now he's not exposed constantly to some guy who's coming with his ears pinned back on a pass because it's third down or you're losing by 20 points. Okay, Evan was improved. I had Evan with 5 minuses. He played much better. Still has some issues here and there. Still has some footwork issues. Still learning, but he got better. Okay, he really did. And I think as he plays more, I think he's a guy that can play. But he's, again, like I said a week ago, it's baptism by fire. So.
All right, and then at center, did you see in your grading, in your eval, a big difference between Jadice and Crippen?
Not much. No, I think both of them are. I had fairly solid performances by both, but still some flaws, and no clear winner, if that's what you're asking, where you can say, okay, this guy is going to play next week. That didn't jump out to me anyway.
All right. So now let's start getting to the questions from the people. All right. Starting off first with this one from Gregory J. Cooper on Facebook. Question. Al, any thought on Alex Orji running the old school option a la Tony Rice of Notre Dame back in the day?
Now, what I'm going to say about that, because I remember Tony, and I remember they had a whole option series, I think with some freeze options, some trap options, some no, I don't think, because that's not really in their playbook. Okay. But to run some simple speed options out of some different looks, some spread looks, or some two back looks, I can see that being part of their offense, because it's something that they've kind of done before. So that's not completely out of the box. But to get into that, what Tony Rice did, you do have to make some major changes in your offense, and I'm just not sure they're going to be willing to do that.
All right. Yeah, people are hitting the Buckeye Breakdown fundraiser. Appreciate that. All right, let's go back to the questions. All right. This one from Zach Swank on YouTube. Says, Al, I've been curious. I prefer Orji to start either way, but if they feel Davis is the better passer and the QB pulling the ball helps, why can't he pull the ball? He's not Orji, but still a good runner.
You can do some of that, but it's not in his power zone. Here's the deal about that, okay, is how threatened does the defense feel by Davis pulling the ball? Because if they don't feel threatened, it's not going to be an emphasis on defending, okay? They will take a little 4 or 5 yard gain here and then just, move on. But if they feel the guy that's pulling the ball is a genuine threat, it's going to get emphasis to be defended and take some defenders off the person who's getting the ball. Plus, if they decide they want to take that away, now the guy pulling the ball is a threat to go. So my point is how much does it affect the defense's thinking? And if it affects it very little, yeah, you can do it, but is it really going to be something that needs to be a big part of your offense? And I don't really see that happening.
All right. Back to the questions. Seems like an observation. Tim Leineke says, seems Davis isn't seeing something as far as blitz and coverage packages. Hope Orji can read those small tendencies, like the safety cheating slightly. I think he's talking about when the safety was cheating off the hash and the corner was kind of cheating inside.
Yeah.
Kind of tipping that safety that corner blitz on that play.
Yeah, well, he's going to have to, see those looks in practice, but there's going to be some growing pains in games because he hasn't played. Okay, now remember, I don't want everybody to start thinking that Alex Orji's a panacea. Okay,
Right.
because that puts too much pressure on the kid to perform over and above.
Yeah.
If Alex does what he's supposed to do within his skill set and not force balls or fumble the football, do things that put the defense in bad situations, then I think he'll be fine. But there's going to be some growing pains. He hasn't played every down. Now you see what's happened with Davis when he didn't play every down. He had to still learn some stuff, and with JJ McCarthy for that matter. So yeah, he's going to do some dynamic stuff running the ball. Hopefully, he can hit enough passes to keep the defense honest, but don't expect miracles just because he's the quarterback now.
Mm-hmm. Good point. All right. John Walls on YouTube says, ask Al if he could go back. Would he have talked to Denard and had him switch to an offensive weapon like Reggie Bush and then started DG at quarterback?
That's a fabulous question. But we felt Denard as a running quarterback and a passing occasionally quarterback and RPOs now was our best chance to win. He was so dynamic. And we had, like I said, we had 1,000-yard rusher, so we weren't hurting in the backfield. Okay, so no, I don't think I'd have changed any of that. I think it worked out good for him, and as long as Denard played, we were pretty good. He didn't lose a ton of games, so I think the way we went about it, I have no buyer's remorse on.
All right, this is another question taking you back. This one is back to John Walls again. He said, did DG ask to play receiver or did you guys suggest it?
I think it was, I think we suggested it to him because we wanted to get him on the field. We had been running some 2-quarterback offense, deuce personnel, and been doing some of that, but we needed to get him more involved because he's so athletic. And he was long, he's 6'4", had a lot of range, really good hands and athletics. So we decided, hey, let's put him in the receiver room. Let's get him to be a receiver so he can play. And until Denard got hurt, that was going to be our approach.
So one of the things that Sharon hit on, they were talking about, hey, surprised by Davis getting the job, what happened, and now you're going to Alex. And so Sharon said, yeah, Davis came on at the end. And he said it was Alex through 2 weeks of practice, which is obviously what we had heard, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said, Davis kind of finished up better. And so we want to see the Alex that we saw over the first 2 weeks of practice was kind of Sharon's deal. And so this kind of gets to this point from Brian Muleman. He said, could Orji be way better in games than practice? I mean, practice is where you try stuff. So did you ever have examples of dudes who were just better in games than practice, gamers versus practice guys, Al? Or did you believe in that? Or how do you see it?
We talking about practice? We talking about practice. No, yeah, there are some guys that play better in games than they do practice. They do. Some guys are great practice players and not such good game players, or not as good game players.
You told me a story about Anthony Carter like that.
Yeah, Anthony Carter was with the Invaders. I think he was a pro, and he kind of wanted to make it to Sunday. But AC, he was with us with the Invaders, and he'd be in practice, and he'd drop a ball every so often, and ball that he could easily catch. I mean, he was phenomenal, this guy. Okay, and one day I went to him and say, AC, man, you ain't that great in practice. He says, Al, come Sunday, I do the gridiron. That's what he told me. I'll never forget that. But yeah, there are times when guys are not great practice players. The problem with that, Sam, is sometimes because you become so disheartened with how they're playing in practice, you won't put them in a game. And I'd tell some guys, I say, you want to play, you got to show me, you got to build trust. And you build trust in practice by doing all the right stuff. But all that said, there is occasionally a guy that when those lights go on, they're a different player. So we'll see if that's the case. But it's usually the exception, not the rule. Let's say that. Okay, most guys are good in both if they're good, or so we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. All right. another one from Brian Muleman. He says, Al, is the line pulling better and tighter now? Because it seems they still loop and not pull into the line still some. What are you seeing?
Well, I haven't seen any strong tendency that way. There may be an occasion when that happens, but I think that Grant Newsom does a really nice job of those guys. They are the one thing about them is they are multifaceted as offensive linemen. They are not just pound you zone runners. Okay, they run the counters with a tackle and the guard pull, or maybe just a guard and a fullback pull. They run. You saw in this game big plays on the crack sweep, which we're going to detail. We detailed in the film study. So there may be occasions where it's not as perfect as you'd like, but for the most part, they're pretty solid and they're pretty athletic. So I think they can keep doing what they're doing and just refine those fundamentals.
Okay. On to the next one for you, Al. And this is an observation. Struggling streaming with BK on YouTube says, even if Alex hits 0 downfield throws, he's an upgrade over Davis because Warren didn't hit any downfield throws in 3 games. I think this kind of gets to the broader point. Like you aren't going to get worse performance. So anything you get is going to, you see what you got in Alex has kind of been my point.
Sam, again, I'm going to go back to the question and the conclusion I drew last week. Can Alex score the offense more points?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's downfield throws, whether it's running for a first down, whatever. When he's the quarterback, can they score 30-plus points? And if they can, against a team like USC, he's earned the spot.
Mm-hmm.
But you can, go to anecdotal evidence that he's not hitting downfield throws or he's not doing this. But if the sum total of his effort results in more points, he's the guy that's got to play because that's the quarterback's job. You find a lot of times, guys, you may lose a game, but if the quarterback puts 35 points on the board, you say he should still be the quarterback, right? So points on the board are really the gauge for whether the quarterback keeps his job or not.
Well, I think in that game, the limited number of snaps we saw from Alex, we already saw an example of what I've been clamoring for. His impact on the run game and how it affects the pass game, because here is the stark reality and truth is with Davis in the game, and this is not to disparage Davis, not an indictment on him, but with him in the game, the lack of respect that teams would often show the run game, and how they would play, not so much Arkansas State, but the first 2 opponents. And somewhat with Arkansas State, I mean, they would hang back. They would hang back. I mean, it was really glaring with Texas. I mean, we could cover you with 7 in the box and just hang back.
Yeah.
And just not give you the kind of gross reactions that Michigan was used to seeing with play action. You got it much more with Arkansas State, where they're triggering their safeties hard on period. I mean, they're coming down.
Their coverage was a fast fill safety defense where Texas was not. I'd mentioned this before, is when you're playing cover 4, which is the most common coverage in college football, right? You play it, people coach it different ways. The way Texas coached it is they played split safety behind the umpire, 4 to 5 yards, and basically triggered late, expecting the safeties to make the play probably within 6 yards, 7 yards of line of scrimmage. Arkansas State played the same coverage, completely different. They were up tight inside the umpire, again, the umpire being that referee right in the middle of the defense. And as soon as any gross run read showed, they came a humming. They were up there. Now, the bad downside to that is they're singling up those corners, because those corners are getting basically no help on play action passes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how one team did it, and Texas could because their front was able to play 2 gaps. So
now they came hard even with Davis in the game, but look how hard they came when Alex was in the game.
Oh, yeah. Who would? Who
They
was
get even harder. And look at
the pass that he missed.
the pass
Oh
that
my
he missed.
goodness. That's evidence. Yeah, that's evidence of how hard
How
they were
hard they
playing.
came.
Yeah.
Look how hard they came.
Yeah. And you're going to get more of that, Sam. You're going to get more of that. With him in the game, he's going to have to hit some of those balls
He is, but
because
it's like
those safeties are going to be tight.
it was like that. That's what I'm talking about. Now, he's got to hit some for it to matter, but at least you're going to maybe get some of those shots where guys are running open down the field. All right.
Definitely.
Next one for you, Al. I don't know if this is the case, but Michael Dunn on Facebook says, Al, I think when Orji is out there, the line blocks better. What do you think?
Oh, I don't think it's much different. I just think Alex brings a different dimension to the table. I think he can make the line look like they're blocking better because he can create some offense with his legs. So I didn't see any discernible difference. I just saw the skill set of the quarterback was different for what that's worth.
All right. Next one. Al, let's see. Oh, this is a good one. This is right up your alley, kind of, because it kind of gets to what you were thinking about with Denard and how you said, hey, you were hypersensitive to how many carries he got because we got to keep him healthy. P. Maximus said, Orji better learn to slide or he won't survive the Big Ten. He can't challenge every tackler. How do you coach him? And you got to keep that in mind as a play caller, right?
I agree with that. I think there are times to get down. You know what I mean? Get down, learn how to hook slide, learn how to run out of bounds. You're not, you got to be able to live for the next snap. Now, you got to understand situational football too. There may be times you can't do that where you have to get that extra yard to keep the chains moving. So there is a discernible difference between how you play the position. But I think to expect to run as physical as he ran in this game every single snap is very risky, even as big and strong as he is.
This is an interesting question, Al. This next one from Smash the Numbers, Ferris Khan. What's up, Ferris? He said, I heard Alex Orji is super smart, which is absolutely the case. He's one of the smartest guys on the team. No need to, quote, dumb down the offense just because of the dual threat stereotype, right? That is absolutely true.
No,
but
absolutely.
Al, so let me frame this question a different way because I can answer that question. Alex is super bright when it comes to dissecting, knowing coverages and that kind of thing. He absolutely high IQ guy. But Al, you as a play caller, how do you, when you have a guy with his skill set, how do you balance him sitting in the pocket? Hey, Alex, I want you to sit in the pocket and go 1, 2, 3, do these whole field reads versus 1, 2, and you got these great pair of legs on you, super athlete. Do I want you sitting in the pocket doing all these whole field reads, or do I want you 1, 2 and use this God-given talent that you're blessed with? So balance that equation. It's not necessarily a matter of how smart you are because he's super bright, but I want you to use what God gave you. Split that baby for me, Al.
That is a great question because it harkens back to when I coached Denard. Our philosophy with Denard, again, unlike other quarterbacks I coached, and we developed this as we went and played more. But every play with Denard, and this may be the case with Orji. I haven't coached Orji enough to really, because I don't think Orji's the runner Denard was. I think he's good, but I don't think he's the runner Denard was. But every play in our playbook that was a pass was a potential quarterback draw. Everyone was a potential quarterback draw. So the way we coach Denard is I call it a pass because we want to get the ball down the field with a pass. So we're not just going to drop back, look to run and then pass. No. We're going to give the pass a chance, particularly if it's a play pass, because we know we're likely to get some gross bites, right? We're going to give the pass a chance. We'll look to number 1, maybe number 2. But seldom were we going to get to 3 because 3 were going to be his legs. 3 was going to be the improv quarterback draw. Now, I had quarterback draws that I actually called too, okay? But we always wanted to present the threat that he could take off anytime during the progression. Now, what that did is that really slowed down the pass rush. Denard didn't get rushed a lot because people were so concerned about him taking one of those gaps in the pass rush off of a pass. So that may be the case with Orji. It may be, but I always want the quarterback to think, if I called a pass, we got to think pass. Don't think take off and run right away, because it defeats the purpose of calling the pass. I mean, you're going to be running a lot anyway, right? But if that opportunity presents itself and the pass isn't there, use your athleticism.
Here's an interesting question from Twitter. Xavier Segura says, Al, is Sharon's announcement of Orji as the starter on Monday to give him a confidence boost? Harbaugh tended to not announce the personnel news to keep the other team guessing. That's an interesting question. What do you think?
Well, you bet. I wondered. It's funny. I was a little surprised they mentioned it too. But there's an upside. Is now the team knows from day one of this practice week what direction we're going at that position. We're not leaving it out there. We're not trying to fool anybody. And at the end of the day, Sam, how much does USC really know about Alex Orji? They know we can run. But now you've got a package of plays that they haven't seen. I'm sure they haven't, there are going to be some different stuff in there, all right? And there will be a surprise element either way. There's checks and balances to doing it either way, but I think I know why they did what they did.
All right, winding down with the questions. Good questions this week. This is good. As Al, what's up with all the play action fake handoffs where the running back wasn't on the correct side? It happened like 4 times.
I think it happened twice.
I saw it twice. Yeah,
I think it happened twice. But it happens in the game. Sometimes a guy goes the wrong way. Sometimes you make a wrong turn. Everybody does, right? So
gotta get cleaned up.
Yeah, clean it up, coach it up. Get them straight.
Because I think it led to a sack one time.
Yeah, and that's not good. No, I don't. But sometimes we're not all perfect, and sometimes we go the wrong way. Believe it or not, I went down a one-way street a couple of times, Sam. That's not good. But
can't get the quarterback sacked though.
Yeah, no, I didn't get killed, thank God. But
yeah, Donovan raised his hand. He said that's on me.
No, and that's admirable. That's admirable.
Yeah, got to get cleaned up. Paul Hellman says, how much advantage does a shotgun QB position really create versus drop back?
Oh my God, if the guy can run, it's a monstrous advantage, because now you got all your reads. You got all your zone reads, you got all your +1 runs, you got all the stuff that you don't have under center, so you become more quarterback run oriented for the most part. Now some teams run a shotgun, all they do is pass, and it's a comfort zone for the quarterback. But in this situation, what you're looking at is adding all that quarterback run stuff that develops once the ball's snapped, whether it's a zone read or a counter read or whatever. And I think it's important, Sam, to talk about, how are they going to evolve? How's the offense going to evolve based on the new quarterback? What's going to change? Because they already have a counter play, right? Well, you just run a counter play and add a read to it, right? No big deal. Mm-hmm. You run a counter play and make it a +1 run and let the quarterback keep the ball, right? They already have a dual play, right? Now just get in a shotgun and let him read the duel, or run a quarterback duel with a +1. That's entirely possible. Pin and pulls. They already got pin and pulls, right? Now you can pin and pull and read it, maybe pull it if the end chases, or +1 it and run it with a quarterback, maybe with a lead blocker, maybe with a misdirection back. All these things are already in their offense. They just have to add them with the quarterback running dimension to them.
Absolutely. All right, time for a few more. For Al, going back to Facebook, Rafael Romello Drake says, I don't know if you talked about it, Coach, Al, but do you see Alex, Donovan, and Khalil in the backfield at the same time? They actually did that.
Yeah, no, I vote yes. I vote yes. Hey, I don't think they've done that with Alex back there. They did that with Davis. But yeah, I think a handful of snaps, with 3 running threats back there, you betcha. I think that's good stuff.
Yeah, they did it with Davis. I don't think they did it with Alex.
Yeah, I don't think they did. But, I think Khalil's a pretty decent receiver too. See, I said this before. Khalil adds a real interesting deal here now, because he has fullback dimensions to him. You know what I mean? He's big, thick. He can block. He can pick blitzes up, block the outside linebacker on a power play. Plus, I think catch the ball. I know Donovan can. So now you got a running quarterback with two backs that can run, block, and catch the ball. That's a pretty good group.
All right. Man, you guys are asking some great questions.
Yeah, these are really,
Yeah,
really
it's a great question.
the Michigan fans are educated football fans.
Yeah, it's a great question, folks. Cut from a different cloth on YouTube. Al, what would you do with the running backs? How would you go about handling the situation with giving Mullings more touches and the bulk of the carries? Mullings is clearly RB1, and I think he says it needs to carry the ball more. What do you think about that?
Well, as long as he continues to produce like he has, I would see to it he carried the ball more. But remember now, we got short memories around here sometimes. Got short memories. When Donovan touches that ball, sometimes it's, it doesn't happen in this game and doesn't happen in the next game, but all of a sudden the big game, whether it's the national championship game or the Ohio State game, there he goes. So, yes, if he continues to prove, if Mullings continues to prove that he's the best back, he's going to touch it more, but I'll be darned if I'm not going to see to it that Donovan Edwards is still a huge part of our plan.
Well, they what do you have? 15 for 153, and Donovan has 17 for like 80.
That ain't bad. Yeah, between the two of them, that's good running. But yeah, the question's a good question. If he continues to produce like that, he's got to probably touch them all more. But we know what Donovan's capable of, so we can't lose sight of that.
Yeah, what you run the risk of is, if you can get that kind of efficiency, from Khalil, what you run the risk of if you lessen the touches is you're taking away opportunities from your home run hitter.
Yes. Yeah. And remember, Sam, now the quarterback's going to be more of a factor running. So there's some carries there too. Although the ball's going to probably be run more, so there will be more opportunities.
Right. And you could maybe that's part of your calculation. Maybe you feel like you don't need more of a home run hitter in your offense anymore. Maybe you don't. I mean,
you always need a home run hitter.
I hear you, but I mean, it seems like a lot of fans feel like they don't need that.
Oh, I know, because Donovan has not done what he's done in the past yet, and the instincts are to say, well, God, let's give the other guy a chance. And they are giving that guy a chance, but I would not eliminate that weapon from your offense in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I still think you figure out other ways to get him touches too. All right, Al, last few here. Zach Swank on YouTube. Al, how would you start this game? I would expect USC to pull the OSU playbook and dare Alex to throw. Do you open up taking a deep shot to see if he can hit it?
Oh, I think somewhere in the first 10, yeah. Yeah, I would do that. I'd try to get him a couple confidence builder throws, that you think he can complete. But start the game off doing what you feel he can do the best, so he can gain confidence, so he can hit those throws that we're talking about. But I would say this, somewhere in the first 10, maybe 15 plays, maybe take a shot or two down the field. And even if it's incomplete, at least make them aware that you'll try it, that you're not just going to run the football every first down.
John McCall on YouTube. Al, how important will time of possession and ball control be in the USC game?
As important as it's ever been in any game.
Yeah.
I said this before. Some teams are not time of possession teams. Michigan just doesn't happen to be one of them. They are a time of possession team. And remember, time of possession doesn't necessarily got to win by 10 minutes of time of possession. Sometimes you don't even win time of possession, but it's so close and you maximize those opportunities that's a plus. That's your formula to winning. So I think time of possession against a team like USC and the way Michigan tends to play is important. Other teams, not so much.
Yeah. Adam Shepardson says that play DG was talking about where Orji went mesh and then quickly got it out to the edge RPO. We have to see 20 of those type balls.
Oh, 20. Boy, that's a lot. I wouldn't hold my breath till they ran 20 of those, but I do like it. And I do like the play. They ran a little counter play and ran a line route, which is a pattern behind the line of scrimmage with the receivers blocking. He reads that end. If that end closes, he just shoots it out to that line route. If that end doesn't close, he hands the ball off and runs the counter. Those are cool things. Those are cool things, particularly for a guy like Alex Orji, who has some dimensions to him. So
they ran that with Alex.
No, yeah, they ran one with Alex. They ran one with Davis and one with Alex. Yes, they did. They ran it play twice during the game.
Last couple. These have to be the last couple, so we get over to Vance.
Oh, don't. Yeah, we can't piss Vance off. Vance, he gets go too long.
Yeah. Keegan Imhoff says, does it benefit Orji to win the job after the Texas game? There's some people who believe that, Coach Borges.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't. I don't know. Maybe it does. I'm sorry, I don't have a better answer to that question, but I don't.
I hear you. John McCall again says, can Al explain how the spread is not that different than old school option offenses?
Well, the spread is an option offense of sorts. The old option offense, you were under center, and generally there was a triple option involved where you left a defensive end free and the guy would ride the fullback in there, saw what that end did, either hand it to him or pull it, and then run down the line and pitch off the next guy. It all worked from on the line of scrimmage, but the result of the play, or what happened on the play, was post-snap. Well, the spread's a lot that way too. The difference in the spread is you divide defenders, take them away from the box, leave a guy unblocked on the end line of scrimmage, much like the old triple option did, and from the shotgun, read him. If he closes on the handoff, pull the ball out, and you have a bevy of options you can work from there. I mean, whether it's pulling the ball and running, pulling the ball and RPOing, whatever. But conceptually, both offenses don't block all the defenders and read the defenders, which makes it a little easier on the offensive line.
All right. We'll make this be the last one. Al, what do you think the player comparison floor and ceiling is for Alex?
I'm not sure I completely understand that question, but his ceiling, well, it's because he is an athletic kid. If he can hit the passes, and again, it doesn't have to be all of them, but the key passes, keep the chains moving on third down while either hitting the pass or running for a first down. Hitting a shot, 1 out of 3 shots or a home run, the ceiling can be real high and the point total can be real high. But the floor, if you're asking how bad it can be, miss those passes, have them load the box, not be able to get out of the backfield, and before you know it, now you got nothing. You can't run, you can't pass, and you're doing a lot of punting. So much of it's going to be on Alex's ability to do what he's not supposedly as good at reasonably efficiently. Okay, and that would be passing. If it's reasonably efficient, I think the other stuff's going to come. I think he's going to pull that ball and do some stuff and raise some hell with his legs. But if that's all he can do, I think you're going to see Davis Warren back in the game eventually. Makes sense, Sam? Did I answer that question right? Because I'm not.
You did. I mean, I've heard so many comparisons. I mean, the initial conversation was about Jalen Milroe because of the parallels in situations, right? Running style. He's not a shifty runner. He's a big physical runner, and so as you've talked to coaches more, they've started to compare him more to big physical style quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
You're not to say he's these guys, okay, but style. They compared him style-wise,
right,
to Cam Newton, style-wise to Tim Tebow, style-wise to JT Barrett. Not to say that he's as good as those guys, but he'll run you over. He's not Denard Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
He's not Jalen Milroe style runner. Right?
One thing I want to bring up about Milroe that I think gives Alex a light at the end of the tunnel. I watched Milroe early in the year last year. I put on my all 22s and watched Alabama because I will do that on occasion. Milroe was all over the place, Sam. His footwork was all over the place. He had reached a point where his efficiency was such that they tried another quarterback. They started another quarterback. And somehow after that, he kind of saw the light. And a lot of things fundamental with him changed, and he became a much better quarterback, not just a total improv quarterback. He could actually drop back sometimes and hit those passes and do the things that the position dictated outside of the improvisational facets of the position. So we got to give Alex a chance to develop a little bit, because just watching what Milroe did, and I'm just using that as an example, he saw the light and he became a much better quarterback through repetition and even through being benched, and turned out to be a pretty good player. So it may require a little patience.
That it might. That it might. All right, folks, that is going to do it for us today here on the breakdown. I want to remind those of you who have not downloaded the app, the Autograph app, because we encourage you to watch the film study. We dove really deeply into Alex Orji usage and how some of the plays that we talked about really cater to his game and what we think they're going to do. You want to check out the film study. Autograph app is totally free. It's available on Android and iOS, so be sure to check it out. I'm going to share the QR code for you right now on the screen. So very easy. Just scan it, and you'll be able to download it. Very, very simple. Okay? So download that right now. Like I said, available on Android and iOS. So you can look at it on your, on your phone, your iPhone, your iPad. Of course, those of you who don't like to scan QR codes, I didn't even know this was a thing, that people can spoof QR codes. You can use a link. You can use a link instead. So try this. Try link.ag.fan/Sam Webb. That is link.fan/AG. Link.ag/fan. I'm messing this up. Now I got to type it. I got to type it.
Man,
So I
Sam.
can get it right. I got to see it, Al. I got to see it so I can get it right. So let me make this right. It's link.ag.fan/Sam Webb. That is it. That is the link for you to download the for you to be able to download the Autograph app. All right. That gets you over to the Autograph app. It is free. And you can, everything that you do over on Autograph, whether it's watching the film studies, reading your favorite blogs, listening to podcasts, you get points. You redeem those points for rewards. Boom. It's a great concept by Tom Brady and his crew. And last but certainly not least, the Buckeye breakdowns. You folks have been coming through. I've been seeing as we've been right here doing the film study. I mean, doing the breakdown here. The Buckeye breakdown film studies that we're going to do during the Michigan bye weeks. Folks, you've been actually donating to them during the episode. So keep that coming. That is outstanding. Al is going to break down the first 5 Ohio State games.
Already got 2 down, Sam. Wednesday is my Ohio State day. Every Wednesday I start on Ohio State.
All right. Yeah. So he's going to break down the first 5 Ohio State games during the first Michigan bye week. And then he's going to break down the second 4 Ohio State. So games 6, 7, 8, and 9 during the second Ohio State. During the second Michigan bye week. But in order to make that happen, we need you to donate to the Buckeye Breakdown fundraiser on PayPal. All right? That's the only way that we can get it done. Because Tom Brady said, I'll fund the Michigan film study, but I ain't funding no Buckeye breakdown. So we need the Michigan fans to help you fund the Ohio State counterintelligence program. That's what this is. So if you can help us fund the Buckeye breakdown fundraiser, I'm going to put that in here right now. Help us with that. We'd be greatly appreciative, and we'll keep it going and growing. Until next time, folks, thanks for watching another edition of the Michigan Football Breakdown, focused on the offense with Al Borges. We'll see you next time.
Go Blue.
All right, put that up on the screen, and we will see you next week. And it is now time to get over to my man, Vance Bedford.
All right, Sam. I will see you Saturday.